Hey there. It's a pleasure to be here with you on this beautiful land, and I'm curious about your feelings on what's happening with deforestation, with the tragedy of the environmental situation, and what we can do about it as community builders.
Mm. Yeah, well, the issues with deforestation and the issues that the indigenous people have been suffering, both here in the U.S. and also in Brazil, has been happening for decades and hundreds of years. But right now, we are putting a lot of energy and a lot of attention towards the Amazon, and we are working on this project called Daime Eterno, which is through an environmental organization founded by David de Paula. And we are actively planting medicines. We're actively reforesting the area there. And in addition to an environmental initiative, it is also a social impact project because many of the people that are living in the Amazon, they do not have reliable sources of income. And so they are deforesting areas in order to raise cattle and other livestock because this is their only source of income. And so this project is enabling them other ways of supporting themselves through planting other foods, other sources such as cacao, such as acai. So this is a social initiative as well so that they can begin to sustain themselves in ways that are not harming the forest. And so that's our current project, as well as planting ayahuasca vine and chacruna leaf, so that people all over the world can have sustainable regenerative access to medicine.
That's so beautiful. And so, like, how has this correlated with your work as a community builder here in the United States?
So our community has been actively fundraising for this project, and we have successfully purchased land in the Amazon, and we are actively continuing to donate to continue the planting. And so we have gathered the support of our community to be able to support this project in some of those ways.
Beautiful. And are you seeing this sort of unified purpose as healing and good for the people that are involved in the community?
Absolutely. And, this is really the next step of the evolutionary process. So people come to medicine work and various kinds of spiritual practices to heal themselves and heal a lot of inner trauma and do deeper inner work. But the next step is helping the world and putting energy towards humanitarian efforts and conservation efforts so we can really make a difference. It's one thing to make a difference within ourselves and our own inner transformation, but if we organize ourselves in such a way, we can have an incredible impact on society and make real change that's tangible that we can see in the world.
That's beautiful. And I just imagine that some people have shown up maybe feeling like helpless, like the world's all messed up and they can't do anything about it. And
Mm-hmm.
it seems like being involved with something like this that's making a difference would make someone feel more connected and less helpless about what they're facing in the world.
Absolutely. Well, there's no question about it that engaging in selfless acts of service brings renewal and healing to the spirit. So while people are engaging in any kind of spiritual activity, another component of that is engaging with community, connecting with people that are also on the path, and doing service and being a part of these kinds of projects that are totally outside of maybe their own personal lives. This is essential.
I think there's a stereotype in other subcultures about people who are engaged in things that are healing, yoga people or spiritual people. And the stereotype that I read into from the memes and some of the things I read online is that they're just really self involved,
Mm.
narcissistic,
Mm-hmm.
and completely blind to anything that's really happening in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I feel like what you're doing is really helpful to change that so that
Mm.
people who maybe are curious about going to a cacao ceremony or a sound bath
Mm-hmm.
might be
Mm-hmm.
less turned off by this cultural stereotype where
Mm-hmm.
people who
Mm-hmm.
are going after not just healing for themselves, but also are becoming awakened and then feeling empowered to make a difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really beautiful, and it must feel really rewarding for you to be doing something like this.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, this, I believe this word that kind of you're talking about is spiritual narcissism. And
Yeah.
this happens, this is kind of a term that's coming up within the collective, just the collective field of so many people now engaging in healing practices. But if we look at some more traditional religious structures or spiritual centers, all of them are engaged with humanitarian work. So if we look at, you know, for instance, many ashrams, most ashrams have huge programs in India where they're giving food to hungry people. There's, you know, providing healthcare, providing clean water, providing lots of basic needs, and also even in mainstream religions like Christian churches here in the U.S., like providing food, providing clothing. So we see this in like more organized religious structures, but in terms of this spiritual emergence, which is this new culture, which is outside of those paradigms, outside of doctrine, outside of maybe a lineage, these humanitarian efforts are missing. It's not a part of this framework. And so that really is what we're trying to create, is how can we have a healing community where maybe we're engaging with different practices, different medicines, different lineages, but we are still engaged in humanitarian work and conservation work and things that are outside of our own personal healing. And I think that that's essential as these practices become more widespread.
That's really beautiful. So what I'm hearing is that this is like more of an inviting open door for someone who might be agnostic or even an atheist, but is curious about healing
Mm-hmm.
and also, you know, wants to help the world out,
Mm-hmm.
but doesn't want to follow a guru or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, join the church or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
This is a way to really, it seems like, include everyone who has these common values that they want to share, regardless of their beliefs. So
Exactly.
this is really beautiful. I want to thank you, Alanna, for answering these questions and sharing
Thank you.
your ideas with us.
Thank you so much,
And
Ryan. Thank you for having me.
we want to like encourage everyone watching to support Truth as One and all of the things that great things that you're doing here in the United States and also in the Amazon.
Thank
And we
you.
look forward to hearing more.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Thank you for this time.
Namaste.
Namaste. Aho.
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 Haush,
Amen.
haush.
Namaste. Ashe. Ashe.
Pampa
Haush.
Dios.
Shabbat. Shabbat.